Although Fnatic struck first in game number 1, securing a first blood after some aggressive mid lane play, it was ultimately MKOI that would then take control over the game and never let it go, resulting in almost a 20,000 gold lead by the time they won 27 minutes into the game. Fnatic are now 1 game away from elimination completely from Worlds, and they've got to fight back here.
Yeah, but it's for Fnatic, it has been a struggle for them in the summer, right? You look at how they were clearly the 4th best team in the LEC. We heard it from interviews, we heard it from players, we heard it from coaches, but they managed to get that upset over KC with a fantastic performance that put a lot of hope into the Fnatic fans. But now, after making it to Worlds, it would be heartbreaking for those same fans to see them lose once more to MKOI here on the international stage.
All right, let's jump into Champ Select, powered by Omen and HyperX here for game number 2, as Fnatic has switched over to the blue side. They will ban out Nico, Taliyah, and Yunara, their opponents on MKOI, banning out some mid lane focus with Orianna, Azir, and Aurora. First pick of the draft is the Rumble for Oscar.
The Rumble surprises me. Wukong has been such a strong pick in the meta at the moment, and not going towards that definitely feels like, obviously it's getting comfort for Oscarinin, but maybe not comfortable with the meta. Because now you've even got opportunities for Myrwn, who has liked playing things like the Cassante into this in the past and has looked incredibly strong. There it is, into Oscarinin specifically on this. Like, Myrwn 1v2'd Razork and Oscarinin in this pick in game 4 of their last series.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one. I remember that highlight.
Yeah, it echoed across every sphere of social media,
Yeah, that was a pretty tough one there for Fnatic to deal with. Now, interestingly, with this Poppy, I wouldn't be surprised to see this locked in. It's very effective against Wukong. And remember that in the previous game, MKOI actually banned Poppy in their first rotation. It was their 2nd ban of the draft, which is pretty unusual. So clearly they were noticing that Fnatic does like to lock the Poppy, so that one will be slammed here.
It is also a bit of a Mikyx special, right? We saw it in internationals last year when he was on G2 and he had a very strong showing on it, but something that Razork can play exceptionally well too. So you do, as you say, have those options to rotate it, but there is upset going back towards the Kai'Sa. So this says to me what Fnatic are probably trying to go for is Poppy into the bottom lane, and they want Razork to be able to go back towards the Vi. This Vi Kai'Sa has been a really strong combo for them, works well with the Rumble as well. But if I'm MKOI, I'm probably just going to ban it on this next rotation.
Exactly, right? You don't have any more picks for Fnatic before the next round of the bans come through. It looked like MKOI was thinking back and forth there between the Annie, which is a pretty common pairing with the Wukong, but instead they go with the Sivir, locking that one in for Supa for the powerful wave clear, the AoE, the late game carry potential.
Yeah, especially, you're already setting up for a great team on an MKOI side. Opportunity to go for like another control mage in the mid lane, facilitate that, and you've strong front to back. Alvaro can go towards the engage if he wants to, but if I'm the MKOI, I'm probably trying to leave counter pick here for Alvaro until I know exactly where that Poppy is going and give Alvaro a good matchup.
Yep, the Sivir here is the most played for Supa throughout the summer in LEC, so makes sense to lock that one in here in the first half, make it so they cannot remove that one from the table. Nautilus banned out. Whenever I think of Kai'Sa pairings, Nautilus is always one of the first champions that comes to mind, is just an incredible pairing with her, applies plasma very easily, can be a strong lane buddy, dive buddy later on in the game. Braum now going to be banned out by the side of Fnatic. They do not want that extra defensive capability for MKOI's squad.
Yeah, I think you're kind of in a bit of a pickle here as MKOI on what you want to do with your mid pick here for Jojo, because oftentimes what we see is even when Rumble just exists in the game, they're happy to take the Galio mid and say, hey, we don't have to think about any of the control mages that you can bring out, but there's always the opportunity for Poby to try and flex in towards something like the Yone, have some sort of AD mid, which then doesn't give you the best of times here for Jojo. So with all these support bans, he's just going to lock the Bard. Okay, he says, doesn't matter, I'm happy enough to just go with this.
All right, Bard locked in here for Alvaro. I love watching this champion. I think it's super fun. It's one of the best champions in the game if you're really good at it, and it's also still a champion in the game if you're bad at it.
That's kind of where we've seen that mix match here. The Alvaro has won on the Bard consistently, doesn't look the best on the Bard in those games, can oftentimes position poorly, being points where he's in a bit of trouble, but we'll have to see as this game goes on if he's kind of righted those wrongs since the summer split.
Ooh, and Fnatic fans, I think, are going to be worried about this one because Jarvan, so far at this tournament, I believe, is 0-9. This was a pick that I know a lot of people coming into Worlds 2025 were talking about looking at as potentially the best jungler on the patch, or at least a top jungler on the patch. He's been locked in by a lot of different teams, and he's not won a single time.
Yeah, but EU's very good at the 0-10 power spike. The only problem is it hasn't got there yet, so Fnatic might need to be sacrificed a little bit for it. But either way, I like it in this draft because I think you've got an awful lot of follow-up that can come through with it, with the Jarvan having the setup for the Rumble, having the setup for the Chaos Storm now with the Viktor, and it's much more about playing front to back rather than this all-out dive, which I think can work well. But Jojo has played this before. Is he willing to bring it out once more?
I'm not going to trust it until the timer runs all the way down. This is one of those picks that they'll bait you with. Yeah, that seems much more realistic, but no!
Yes!
Okay, never mind. We are getting Jojopyun Kassadin into Poby Viktor here. This is what I want to see teams do with red side 5th pick. Slam the counter pick. Show us what you've got. Kassadin, you want to be able to have easy access to CC to lock him down. Kai'Sa doesn't have CC. Rumble has a slow. Jarvan has CC, but you have to be able to hit the EQ combo. Viktor has CC, but you have to stand in the thing for the entire time. And Poppy has conditional CC. Honestly, this seems like a pretty solid Kassadin angle.
And it's something that he's brought out twice now over the course of the year as well. He is 100% win rate on it, likes to take it slow, and we very much like to put in Twitch chat that level 16 to see exactly when he's going to be able to hit us. But it is a pick that obviously will lose as gracefully as possible in the early stages, but then come alive on those side lanes in those team fights later on in the game.
Exactly. Levels 1 through 5, you're kind of a melee minion. Levels 6 through 10, okay, you're a bad champion. Levels 11 through 15, you're a good champion. Level 16 plus, Riot, please balance this.
Yeah, it's the age-old Kassadin story. And again, it works very well, not only as you're saying with the lack of CC, but the fact that everything is kind of short range on the opposite side. Like if I'm Kai'Sa and I'm like, cool, let me send myself in with Killer Instinct into the backline and I'm into the waiting arms of, well, actually, I suppose, yeah, her dad. It's not exactly great. Maybe it is a loving embrace, but I feel like that's not going to happen this time around.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit of family therapy here in this one, as it's do or die for Fnatic as we head into game number 2 of Fnatic versus MKOI. Summoner Spellbook for the Bard there from Alvaro, but Mikyx running the Hail of Blades on the Poppy for the extra combat power in lane instead, so not going to have that same level of utility. Here's a look at the runes that Jojo is running on his Kassadin. You can see he's got the Conqueror, sudden impact, last stand for when he gets low to be able to find those amazing outplay situations.
This is a little greedy, though, from Jojo as we get a little bit of trading on the bottom side. Because I would have expected him to go for the Inspiration Tree and try and get the biscuits and that, especially against the Viktor, who is notorious for being very strong in lane and being able to trade effectively. For you to try and survive in this early stage, it can be a little bit of a pickle. But for Jojo, feeling happy enough to try and take those runes that will empower him later in the sudden impact and that Ultimate Hunter to really be a mega threat when he gets to that stage.
Kassadin, level 16 with Ultimate Hunter on top of the items he already likes to build is just going to be it's Earth mode Kassadin, right?
Yeah.
Like this could be a problem if Fnatic allows it to go late, but immediate flash stun into the wall coming out from Mikyx. Alvaro down to 50 HP. He's gonna die. It's first blood to Fnatic at 1 minute and 45 seconds into the game. Mikyx is bloodthirsty.
Alvaro not respecting what Mikyx can do on this Poppy. It is a pick he made his name on at MSI last year, and now bringing it out in what is potentially Fnatic's last game of the year and picking up first blood.
You love to see it. When your back is against the wall, you've got to be willing to put all the cards on the table. You've got to be willing to pull out the pocket picks. Mikyx there with the Hex flash out of the brush, just seeing if maybe he could have got another slam there onto Supa. Supa stays safe enough. Poby having the push in mid lane. This is exactly what you would expect. As you already said, Kassadin's job is not to win lane. It's not even to break even. It is to lose as gracefully as possible in the early stages. Then once you get to level 6, you become a real champion and you can start at least trading back a little bit.
Yeah, it does give Fnatic a lot of windows of opportunity to be aggressive in the early stage, and that's why I like Razork's pathing here. He's going to sneak into the backline. Supa already low, And Razork's here.
Supa at 200 HP. He has Hot Cocoa behind him, but it's not very well charged. Supa down to 100, flashes away, but Razork with a flash follow. Razork gets the second kill of the game for Fnatic. Dagda, it is not even 3 minutes on the clock, and Fnatic are 1,000 gold ahead.
And when Fnatic have looked at their best, it's when they can set up upset for success. It's exactly what we're seeing here, being able to put that resource into the bottom lane, and now you've got 2 kills already to the Fnatic side.
And I mentioned in draft how this Sivir was the most played for Supa throughout the summer in the LEC. Well, Kai'Sa is also the most played for Upset throughout the summer. This is a champion he's got a lot of reps on. This is a champion that hopefully, with this early extra gold, with this extra early power, he's going to feel empowered on.
And this is what I was saying. I love this pathing from Razork, avoiding all the vision that could potentially be set up, making his way in towards this bottom side. And Supa knows he has to push out this wave, or he's going to be in a terrible spot. Fnatic use that to punish, and the follow on the flash from Razork was perfect there.
Nicely done, and now a death for both
Mikyx.
bottom laners on the MKOI side. Mikyx just passing through mid here, as is Alvaro. Alvaro clearing out a little bit of vision as Jojo just continues trying to farm as many minions as he can. Of course, every time Alvaro gets to stop by mid, he can place down some more of those hot cocos for Jojo, essentially just giving him an extra weak health potion to be able to have some extra sustain in lane, which he is going to need a lot of.
Yeah, you've heard of Mojo Jojo, now it's Coco Jojo.
Yeah, Coco Jojo is what he's going to need a lot of here to get to level 6, have a little bit more presence in the lane. Supa gets tackled out of the way there. Void Seeker doesn't hit him. Mikyx's going to take a little bit of damage here. Only one side of the boomerang blade connects, however, so Mikyx not feeling too bad.
Yeah, again, I think you're perfectly happy for Fnatic with the way this early game has gone. And again, you kind of get to continue this for a little bit. Elyoya wants to be level 6 before he really starts to interact with the lanes. Doesn't have great setup anywhere if he tries to interact, and Alvaro actually.
Yeah, Alvaro is going to find a level 4
He's no
Razork
flash.
waiting on him. This Bard is level 2. It is very difficult to deal with a Jarvan as level 2 Bard. And under the turret goes Razork, back to the fountain, goes Alvaro. Fnatic claim the feat of warfare, not even 5 minutes into the game. They are 2,000 gold ahead of MKOI.
And looking very impressive doing it. This is when, again, Fnatic have looked at their best and most confident, and Mikyx is zoning Supa off entirely by himself and denying him from being able to re-access this lane. Dragon going to be secured. Fnatic off to a great start.
Yeah, there's no way that anybody on MKOI is even approaching this first Drake. The 2,000 gold lead for Fnatic, the total control over the bottom lane, upset level 5, just going to rotate over and help Razork take this thing down. You can see there when Plasma procs, it procs for about 500 damage. It does quite a lot to the neutral objectives. And so then that leaves Razork the opportunity to just finish off the smite, take the Drake. That was not even a full minute after the Drake spawn. That's the Mountain Drake, that's the tanky one, and it already belongs to Fnatic.
Yeah, and again, they kind of just get to keep up with this pressure, move in towards bottom side. I think they might be trying to, oh no, he's going to be spotted, but using Razork to just hold this wave on the bottom side for upset. Again, it's kind of everything on Fnatic playing around this AD carry. Now, obviously, again, as the game goes on, you do have a lot of threats for this Kai'Sa in the Wukong and this Kassadin, but it doesn't really look like Fnatic are letting them get to that position as Myrwn.
Yeah, I mean, Myrwn's getting aggressive here on Oscar, but when you look down at the scoreboard, Oscar's an entire kill's worth of gold ahead of Myrwn just based off of farming, because there haven't been any plays on the top side of the map, because everything has been about this bottom lane where Mikyx got so aggressive with the flash at level 1, because Razork is then down there in the bottom lane, and Elyoya, like you said earlier, is just trying to power farm. The top laners are left to their own devices, and Oscarinin is handling the matchup plenty well.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy with the way things are going. The fact that now as well, you can end up using this push to try and reset for the Void Grubs on the top side can work out well as well. You can already see Supa trying to move up into that top side and prevent that push. But if I'm Fnatic, I think just rotating upside and Mikyx to continue matching into this Sivir is going to be perfect.
Okay, let's see how close Elyoya is to making a play. He is level 6. We do have the Cyclone available on the Wukong, but they're going to need to find a good angle if they want to go for anything. When you're this far down in gold, every play just becomes a little bit scary to make. Oscarinin rushing the plated steel caps up there in the top side for the extra mobility to sidestep away from those third and Tofo strikes alongside the armor to deal with Kassadin in general. Of course, Myrwn wants to go with the early Negatron cloak, as pretty much any tank wants to do into the Rumble matchup. And in the jungle, Razork 1-0-1 here on this Jarvan is building towards that bruiser itemization, towards what should be Sundered Sky, of course. And then back in mid lane, Poby, level 6 on the Viktor. Only 6 stacks, so not stacking a whole lot here just yet, but still 500 gold lead from the farm advantage plus the kill. He's feeling great.
I do like these rotations from Fnatic, though. Moving upside to mid this time around and keeping Poby on the bottom side. Poby probably has the least amount of damage that can be brought to the table at this point in the game, so using this Rumble instead as this touch point with the Jarvan can be crucial to the success, but it looks like it's going to be a boy group fight.
Okay, you've got Cataclysm plus Equalizer. Equalizer, of course, still on cooldown for about half of that duration right now. Exactly, the spicy hot pot combo. Very deadly for the enemy team as Jojo now makes his way up towards the top lane. MKOI trying to approach towards this grub area here. Razork going to go ahead, use his combo plus his smite to take the first grub. Elyoya wants to step in. MKOI's goal here seems to grab at least one grub here. They do so with Elyoya's smite, but now they're trying to get back away. Alvaro wants to flash in the magical journey. The Cataclysm wall was on top of the normal wall, so he could still get away with it. Fnatic now trying to get back as Elyoya goes in for the Cyclone, but he only finds the knock up onto Oscar. Now Razork's gonna be the next target, and Supa's on the board. MKOI, they steal away one of the grubs. The third grub is still alive, and they get the kill afterwards, despite their disadvantages in the game so far. MKOI find a decent play there, but now Elyoya's in some danger. Tries to jump back in on Oscar, but Elyoya sticking around a little bit greedy with that positioning, and Fnatic get a punish.
Yeah, Fnatic weren't accounting for their own, but here comes the Equalizer.
The Equalizer finally off cooldown for some immediate pain on Supa and Alvaro. Of course, they cannot get any kills on that one. Another magical journey to keep Alvaro safe as Myrwn goes all out on Poby. Does need to find some more damage here on the K'Sante. Poby trying to kite this one out, but K'Sante is very dangerous in these types of situations. His cooldowns are so low. He tries to dash forward with the footwork, but the stun from Poby is clutch, and he gets away.
Holy moly, Poby, that was crazy. Able to sidestep so much of that damage from Myrwn and just outlast him until he could get the stun. Really well played by the Fnatic mid laner.
Very nice stuff from Poby. I thought for sure he was dead there. You see K'Sante on top of an immobile control mage that does not have reliable CC in the middle of the lane. You're thinking, all right, man, see you once the screen's back in full color, right? But Poby lands that gravity field exactly where he needs to land it, just at the very edge. Myrwn can't escape in time, so nicely done. And it's still about a 2,000 gold lead for Fnatic. Feats of Warfare secured, 2 out of 3 progress on the neutral objectives, and the next Drake is spawning in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I think for Fnatic, as long as you can try and keep up this pressure, kind of do what MKOI did to you in the last game, you should be in a decent spot. Reset's starting to come through. I don't think Upset will have finished his Kraken Slayer just yet, but either way, the lack of ultimate from Oscarinin again was used to good effect, so I'm not blaming him for it, but it is going to mean that it's putting a bit of a slow on Fnatic and how they want to try and operate on the map. I think they will have to wait for that ultimate to come back up before they really do anything.
All right, Jojo, let's take a look in on this Kassadin. About to hit level 9, still down a couple of waves in comparison to Poby's Viktor. Still not Rod of Ages completed yet, so wants to get that online ASAP. Of course, when you do kind of fall into this game state where you're having to play so safe because the enemy jungler's ahead, the enemy mid laner feels empowered to play aggressively, it is going to be a slower completion on that item. So time is, of course, always in your favor when you are a Kassadin, but that clock ticking forward is going to feel painful in this game for a while because of how badly the early game has started. The Drake is alive, and already Mikyx is in the pit, Razork's coming over, and Elyoya on the other side of the map looking to make a play lets you know that MKOI just, they're not going to try to contest this. Okay, Elyoya going forward, but no, the Cyclone misses. There's just no play to be found from MKOI, so this is nothing but a win for Fnatic.
Yeah, Oscarinin had to flash to get away from that Cyclone there on the top side, but that is something where Oscarinin in the past has got caught out on those plays. So having that flash keeps him safe, means that Fnatic can get the Dragon. And at the moment, there's no real response, but there are several members of MKOI here.
Okay, let's see if MKOI can get something else done. They are bringing up Alvaro to maybe Tempered Fate the turret, but nice use of the Equalizer from Oscar to burn down the wave.
Good roam from Upset as well, knowing that if they could get some damage down, have that killer instinct to try and follow through. So keeping MKOI out of that top side, and Oscarinin stays safe.
Okay, Oscar doing a good job absorbing the pressure from MKOI's only possible move if they weren't going to try to contest the Drake.
And the problem for MKOI is they are feeling that pinch of, hang on, Myrwn, he should be fine. But the 2 double dragons being taken. You want that time to buy for your Sivir, your Kassadin, even Myrwn to come online and become mega tanky. But because now 2 of those dragons have been taken, you're going to be forced to fight at this next dragon. You do not want to give it Cross Inferno.
You can see here as Fnatic just disengages yet again from an MKOI play. There's just nothing coming up for MKOI here. They're trying to pop on the hunt. They're trying to make stuff happen. The poor little scuttle crab got knocked into the forest. He's an aquatic creature. He doesn't know what to do there.
I mean, look, he's been a great tourist. Look at him. He's having a fun out time, waddling along.
He's seeing the sights, sounds, and smells of Summoner's Rift in places and ways that he never has before. And now he got beat over the head by Wukong, and he's dead.
Well, that's what happens when you go to the jungle sometimes, you know?
At least he had a good trip on his way out, even if he ended up in a dangerous part of the Rift. But it's a 2,500 gold lead for Fnatic. And we had the stats up on your screen just a little bit before that potential fight broke out. Last game was great for Supa on the Zeri, but this game, since things started out so rough, so shaky in the bottom lane, it's been kind of hard to feel like you've got good ground to stand on.
But again, that has been the Fnatic game plan for not only their series against MKOI, but a lot of the split is get upset ahead, let him be that main carry. And again, that focus has paid dividends for them now, as Supa and Alvaro always love to play aggressive on that bottom side, but sometimes it can come back to bite them.
So looking at EXP right now, we are approaching a pretty critical break point. Jojo about to hit level 11. Alvaro has the stun into the follow-up Cosmic Binding. Now Poby dropping the Arcane Storm, trying to get away. And again, they try to put the pressure on Poby, but they don't have enough gas in the tank. Poby gets away and doesn't even have to flash to do it.
Just barely able to get that gravity well down, which gave him the chance to step away. It's a little bit worse for wear on that top side. We're going to be happy enough that he escaped with his life.
Hey, he's got buddies coming up to help him. Mikyx wandering through here. You can see by the extra terrain, it will be a topside Otacon again this game, same way that it was in the previous one. Jojo still about 3/4 of the way to level 11. Pretty big power spike there for Kassadin. Obviously, every level in the ult giving you significantly better cooldown on that ability. And if they can get to the point where he's level 16, that's where you have the chance to make up for the fact that the early game has gone so bad. But that is still a long way away, my friend. And we are seeing first items coming online in a few different spaces, a few different places. 14 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock as Jojo completes his Rod of Ages. That's a pretty slow completion on the Rod, so that one's still going to take almost 25 minutes into the game, almost on Baron spawn before it's 10 stacks.
I mean, sometimes it's not the end of the world when you're playing a Kassadin, because you do get the level later, which means that you're able to get a higher level, which is technically more XP when it pops.
Right, more value.
Exactly, but not ideal in the, you want Kassadin with money, and the lack of money on the Kassadin is definitely going to play an issue, and especially if this Rift Tower fight goes the way of Fnatic as well, as you can see them starting to set up for the objective again. MKOI though, playing off this Sivir push, getting access towards River, and there's no real play onto Jojo in that top side.
So the thing that I'm noticing, Myrwn is walking up. Neither one of the top laners have their teleport available to join in this fight if they want to stay down in the bottom lane and split push. But MKOI is saying, all right, Myrwn, you're going to have to give up that side lane farm, that side lane EXP, and make your way up here manually instead, because we want to fight for the Herald, and that's what they're going to do. Herald started up by MKOI now, as Oscar's just going to take the opportunity to push the wave down here in the bottom lane. Oscar looked like he was thinking about maybe moving up towards the Herald. Instead, realizes he won't be able to reach the objective in time, so just goes back down to split push instead. Herald is secured by the side of MKOI. Mickey was charging the Keeper's Verdict there, thinking about maybe if there's an opportunity to try to allow Razork to go in and steal, but they think better of it. So it's Herald over to MKOI.
Yeah, Herald goes the way of MKOI. Can they get value out of it though is going to be the real question, because you can see in that bottom side with the lack of TP available for MKOI, you should end up, I believe, with this wave. Oh, actually, I was going to say, I think you should have been able to take it, but Jojo able to get down there quick enough on the Kassadin to keep that tower standing for the moment.
Yeah, feeling good about that. They need to get some value, like you say, out of the Herald use itself. Some freestanding turret gold could be very, very good to try to close some of this gold gap.
Especially with 3 seconds now until that third dragon for Fnatic. I think that's where maybe you can use it as an aggressive Herald in the fight, try and find some success there, or pull Fnatic to that mid lane, which it looks like that's what Elyoya is going to do in response to trying to set up for Dragon.
Okay, Herald summoned as the Dragon spawns. The Herald, they're trying to get the charge on it. Looks like that's all you're going to get, but now the fight is already broken out. Poby taking a little bit of damage here as Tempered Fate catches out the Fnatic mid laner, but a nice Keeper's Verdict to knock Jojo away from the fight means there's not enough follow-up damage. Equalizer down on the Supa, follow-up there from Razork. Killer Instinct jumps in, and Supa's already down. Oscarinen's cooking Myrwn. Alvaro's already dead to the Acathian rain, and when it rains, it pours. Fnatic are bringing it down on MKOI. A double kill, back to upset, and it's an absolute absolute slaughter for Fnatic.
Fnatic aren't done yet at Worlds 2025. Finding this fight, it looked a little dicey. I'm going to be honest, Poby not in the best of positions there, but doesn't even burn the flash. Just as happy, tanks the Bard ult. With that ultimate from Mikyx, knows there's no real threat coming through from the Kassadin. And instead, Fnatic turn the tides, killing off Supa, and Oscarinin's able to deal with Myrwn alongside Mikyx on that top side to keep this fight rolling in Fnatic's favor.
They are going to roll over the fight. They can then immediately translate that into taking the dragon. They take the tier 1 turret mid. They take the tier 1 turret bot. They have the wave shoved into the tier 1 turret top. Dagda, they just doubled their gold lead and moved a soul point off of that fight.
Yeah, this makes it incredibly difficult now for MKOI because you are nowhere near the position that you need to be either on Supa or Jojo to try and carry these fights. And now Fnatic going to be looking down the barrel of that Infernal Soul plus position now to take this top lane tower. So much gold has been injected into them.
This game state, this gold lead, is almost unplayable now for MKOI when you're looking at 18.5 minutes into a game of League of Legends, being down 5,500, being not allowed to surrender another dragon for the rest of the game. The timer on the dragon, 4 minutes. 4 stacks on Kassadin's Rod of Ages. The Rod of Ages will not be stacked by the time the soul spawns, and you do not get any, okay, well, we'll just give this one and fight the next one. Infernal Soul given over is not an option. Supa still only at 1 fully completed item there on the Sivir. Not feeling great about that one either. This champion needs time to be able to scale up. You've got the 1 fully completed item on Myrwn. Of course, you're going to have time to complete that by the time the next dragon fight breaks out, one would think. But it's just been disaster from minute 1, and I mean that literally minute 1. Remember that first blood this game came in for Fnatic from Mikyx's level 1 flash at about 1 minute and 48 seconds.
Yeah, and again, it's what we were talking about. Sometimes Alvaro not giving the respect on this Bard to the position that he has, how squishy he can be, because he does look fantastic on some of these engaged supports, but the Bard hasn't always been that top tier that we expect from Alvaro, who's made a name for himself, honestly, as the best support that we have in the LEC right now. But not able to perform this time around, getting caught out, giving that opening then from Razork to follow up on that second gank. It has been Fnatic steamrolling through this bottom lane.
All right, MKOI, let's see what you guys got to defend, because Poby has used his teleport to join up here in the top side with the rest of Fnatic. He'll be the one that could be the bait in the top lane. Otacon alive now as we crest the 20-minute mark into the game, and it looks like Fnatic are ready to just start it up. MKOI hanging out nearby. Jojo and Upset, the only two from either side that aren't here just yet. Upset going to join up with the rest of the team now, as Jojo is still making his way over. The Otacon is dying pretty quickly. Scryer Trinket going to find Fnatic there, but the Otacon's already going to be secured. Keeper's Verdict knocks the enemy jungler out of the fight, and MKOI took too long standing around watching the Otacon get taken. Myrwn's already down. Razork traps everybody in the Cataclysm.
Oh, Alvaro.
Tempered Fate to try to slow up the follow-up, but it ain't going to matter. I would have to think. Elyoya is spinning, but MKOI ain't winning. Fnatic, they're going to find a kill on the enemy jungler next. They got the Otacon. They got a 2-for-1 trade after. They're chasing after MKOI. I don't think they're going to find anybody else, but they already got what they came for.
I thought that Tempered Fate might have been enough to turn the fight, but as you said, Flowers, the Otacon goes down so quickly. The ultimate there is perfect, and Supa pops his own on the hunt, but doesn't catch Myrwn, so he doesn't get the speed up, ends up falling down. MKOI get one back where they deal with J4, and I thought with Elyoya going in, maybe they have a chance here to turn this around, but Supa has to run for the hills. There's nothing he can do. Jojo doesn't have the damage, and once again, it's the lack of team fight power initially, right now in this moment, that is coming back to hurt MKOI.
This is dire. Otacon giving them all of those flower petals. And again, I always like to bring this up because it's something that's so easy to gloss over, with Otacon being a new objective, with the stats being kind of invisible in terms of the overall gold lead. 33 flower petals to 12 flower petals is somewhere between 1.5 and 2,000 gold's worth of adaptive force for free. That's on top of a 5,000 gold lead, and it's 60 seconds until the final dragon spawns if Fnatic gets it. That's your Infernal Soul. That's your massive power spike again. Jojo, level 13 on the Kassadin, still has to tick forward 3 more times. And you can see here, 1-8 Kai'Sa at the event, 0-9 Jarvan at Worlds 2025. This is looking like it just might be Jarvan's first win.
Yeah, I mean, look, not quite the 0-10 power spike, but Fnatic going to be happy to try and take that one. And it has been this kind of Kai'Sa plus dive combo that Fnatic have been famous for in the LEC, now making it work against their LEC counterparts, it looks like, as MKOI stepping in early to this river, hoping to push Fnatic back.
Okay, slam into the wall, comes out, equalizer over the top. Elyoya going to be targeted here as soon as he gets out of the stasis. Probably going to try to spin. Redemption comes in, looking to heal him, but it's upset into the back line here with the killer instinct. Supa trying to get away. Razork for the chase. Elyoya first to die. Razork might get traded, but no! Jojo has no damage. He's dead now as well. The Arcane Storm is half as big as the enemy jungle, and Fnatic get 4 for nothing.
That is exactly what Fnatic needed. They wipe the fight. They will take the soul. And after they've taken the life of MKOI, they might just take this game as well.
8,000 gold. Infernal Soul. 25 flowers. Not sure what MKOI does.
Yeah, if that isn't a MasterCard priceless moment right there, I don't know what it is. With the soul and everything taken, Fnatic just get to continue pushing. This feels so night and day from game number 1. And again, I love this call. Mikyx flashes immediately on towards Elyoya, forces Alvaro to use that early ultimate to keep his jungler safe. But again, upset. This is what he started to change in summer in the LEC. This ability to be aggressive, not care about the KDA, and put his life on the line to make things happen for Fnatic. He barely survives.
And you can see a little bit of frustration there from Elyoya. And I mean, hey, it's a frustrating game. It has been from the very beginning. Fnatic has run the show on this one, and now they've got everything they need. And it feels like every single time we're counting a new big thing that Fnatic has achieved for themselves. Whether it's a big team fight win and a gold spike, or maybe it's moving to Soul Point, maybe it's taking the Otacon, whatever. The next thing's only a couple minutes away, and now Myrwn is just 45 seconds away with Fnatic commanding a 10K lead and an Infernal Soul.
But where the hell does this leave us if we can get to a game number 3 for Fnatic? Game 1 looked dire. It was MKOI who were playing through this engine of Elyoya and Alvaro, finding the success they need, absolutely taking over the games with the picks. Whereas for Fnatic now, it has been about their team fights in game number 2. And honestly, I think a little bit of greed for MKOI with their draft that Fnatic have been able to punish and now find themselves just moments away from taking down MKOI in game number 2.
Okay, so the one big thing I will point your attention towards, Jojo did have his Rod of Ages finally proc, and it procced, I believe, once he was level 14 to spike him to 15, like you were talking about earlier. He needs 5% more EXP, and he will hit level 16. A level 16 Kassadin might be the only chance for MKOI to try to come back into this game. There it is, Jojopyun level 16, but the Myrwn is already down to half HP, and Fnatic still commands a 9,000 lead with an Infernal Soul. MKOI on the approach, Tempered Fate doesn't hit anyone. Myrwn at 2,000 HP, and it's already gonna get secured by Fnatic. Myrwn trying to escape now. Razork still pushing forward. Poby's also got a stasis. Keep your eyes on that armband. If MKOI try to turn, it can't be onto him, as now Myrwn wants to drag Razork forward. They're going after the Fnatic jungler. He's already dead, but he cost the Cataclysm before he died. And that means MKOI's going with them. Upset is dominating. Supa's out of the picture. Fnatic end up getting a 2 for 1. They've got the Baron. They've got the Soul. They've got the lead. They've got their eyes on the Nexus. And that first inhibitor turret is not going to stop them. Mid lane inhibitor about to die next as Myrwn, Elyoya, and Jojo will try to defend. Jojo using the ultis, trying to get the stacks up, throws forward a little bit of damage, has to again ult backwards, trying to escape the gravity field. Myrwn burns down, and Upset is godlike. First Nexus turret down to half HP. Elyoya just trying to juke him, maybe make him think he's going in. Alvaro's back alive, but it's a level 10 Bard. He can't do a whole lot about this. Tempered Fate's not even available to cast. The minions continuing to fire into the turrets. Supa back alive now too, into the back line. Goes MKOI, Jojo wants Upset, but Upset's having none of it. MKOI, they couldn't scale in time. Fnatic ran the game from minute number 1, and even faster than they lost the first one. They'll win the second one. We're going to game 3.